All right, family. Thank you for being patient. I think Lloyd just finished telling me Mercury's in retrograde. We're going to have a fantastic show tonight.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I sent y'all the wrong link. Duh. So now that we have the correct link, uh, family, leave your information in the chat as far as where you're listening from, and let us begin with the opening of Brother Baraka by way of Summertime in the City.
Putting out a call to the warrior in you, to the healer in you, the king, the queen, the magician, the lover in you. Every single day, we are called to walk in our purpose. Answer the call. Lay down your burden and anything that holds you back and take your rightful place. The battle is everywhere. It's right in your face. Let's go.
Welcome to Magnets, Crystals, and Pyramids. Success is your destiny. Yes. Love, wisdom, power. Remember always who you are. Yes. Yes. I am love, wisdom, power. Yes. Yes. I am love. Yes. Power. Yes. I am love, wisdom. Yes. I am love, wisdom, power. Yes. Yes. I am love, wisdom, power. Master. Yes. I am. Yes. Love, wisdom, power. Yes. I am. Say yes to yourself. Yes. I am protected. Yes. Yes. I am. Master. I am relaxed.
Okay, here we go. Now we finally got on the runway. So let's take off. I want to thank everybody who's joining us in the on the show tonight. I want to thank our Baba Phil Valentine. He needs no introduction. I want to thank AstroNumerologist Lloyd Strayhorn. He needs no introduction. I want to thank Miss Bliss. She does not need an introduction. And I want to thank you, the listening audience. You make the difference. So before we begin, I want to acknowledge our ascended master ancestors. I am in me. I am in Baba Phil Valentine. I am in Miss Bliss. I am in Lloyd Strayhorn. I am in you, the listening audience, now and in the future. We individually and collectively call upon our ascended master ancestors, Sheikh Ahmadou Bamba, who founded the city of Touba in Senegal. Please be with us on this show tonight. Saint Germain, gatekeeper of Mount Shasta in Northern California. Please join our platform. Nikolai Tesla, please be a part of this platform. Guide us tonight. Called upon the latest Christ born in the Congo, Simeon Toko, called up an army of muscle bound, bulletproof angels, black angels that chase the terrorist Belgians out of the Congo. Simeon Toko, please be with us on this platform. Imhotep, Ptahotep, Akhenaten, Aset, Heteru, calling upon White Buffalo Calf Woman. Be with us on this show. Quetzalcoatl, Harriet Tubman, call on Yeshua, Black Madonna, Mother Mary, Mary McLeod Bethune. Be with us. Nat Turner, John Brown, Chief Osceola, Chief Sitting Bull, Chief Crazy Horse, Chief Seattle. be with us on this platform. Calling upon the shroom masters, Dr. George Washington Carver, who would take the shrooms to hear the recipes from the plant kingdom. Call on Zulu Shaman Credo Mutwa. Please be with us on this platform. Call upon Dr. Sabi, who too was a shroom master. Dr. Kalindi Aye, shroom master. Call on all the shaman warriors and those who do jihad through the pen and spoken word to transform the school bus planet leaders to higher heights and greater awareness. We ask for divine intervention, great divine director, Master Himalaya, ascended masters of Atlantis, Lemuria. Call on and acknowledge the ascended masters of the Dogon star system, the Orion star system, Palladian star system. Please come intervene and guide the misdirected school bus, cross-eyed drivers consumed with greed and fear. May they be elevated so they can reach the speed of love supreme. We ask the presence of Archangel Michael to protect all our women, children, men, loved ones, family, friends, to be with us every day in every way. We call on Enoch, Ethiopian, who ascended into the heavens and became Metatron. Be with us. Archangel Raphael, angel of healing, be with us. Archangel Uriel, angel of knowledge and enlightenment, be with us. Buddhas, Krishnas, join us. Lakshmi, Kuan Yin, goddess of mercy, join us today. We ask all the ascended masters in the earth's interior, hear our message tonight so that tomorrow's will be better and we fulfill our destiny, even though we may have amnesia to our previous playwright incarnations. Yes, I am forgiving all souls from past lives. And I ask all souls in past lives to forgive me. Yes, I am forgiving all misdirected souls in this life. And I ask all misdirected souls to forgive me. And we say, Ashe, Mahalo, Donada, Wado, Amin. And so it is. Let's begin. We got folks from everywhere. Let's pull them up in the chat. We got South Florida in the house. Nikki Love from South Florida. Wow. Come on, y'all. Tell me where you're listening from. We got folks from Chicago. Chi-Town is in the house. Rick Roll True said, if you don't have a pistol, you better have a crystal. We got all kinds of folks in here listening from Georgia. Hotep from Thomastown, Georgia. Anyway, let's move into Lloyd. Phil Valentine. What? As Marvin Gaye said, you know, I'm old school. What's going on for 2023? I want to know what's going on.
Well, other than those four numbers of 2023, it adds up to a 7.
Let me put you on top next to Phil. Let me put you right there. There you go. There you go. There's our
You
featured
gotta
guest.
teach me how to do all that stuff, man. I'm
making it up as I go along, brothers.
and this, see, what happens is next year is the year of the 7. And in fact, of the 4 of us on this panelist, 3 of us are 7s, you, Phil, and myself, along with, well, you, Bliss, don't you worry about it, dear. You are 6, so don't you worry. You're gonna always be good, okay?
Okay.
But basically, when I say universal year, no one escapes it. I don't care what part of the planet you live on, what ethnicity, what language, what religion, who you worship, tall, short, fat, skinny, rich, poor, food, no food. Everybody's going to go through the experience of the 7 cycle. A lot of people don't like the 7 because it is very spiritual in its base rather than material and emotional in its base. And so that's why it's about, when a 7 cycle is about finding who you are, you begin to question why you do the things you do. You begin to look deeper. You don't want to get involved in noise and confusion and drama. You just would prefer really to be left alone to figure out, what do I need to do? Why am I here? Why am I dealing with you? because that's what will happen sometime with people in close proximity. And since 7 is magnetic in its energy, I tell people, don't chase after what you want. Think about what you want. So whatever you're reflecting, whatever's occupying your mind most of the day, all next year will manifest itself. So walking around thinking you don't have no money, well, the source will make sure it fulfills your wish. You don't have a mate, or you out of a job, or whatever you might be looking at. Instead of chasing after it, you manifest it through on the mental screen of your mind. And then, as the elders say, you let go and let God, because 7 is magnetic. It draws things to it. And if you turn the polarity of the magnet around and push it to the object will move away. So don't move after money. Don't chase after love. Don't. Instead, just be still, quiet, and let things come to you. That's how it's going to be.
Thank you. And Baba Phil, good to see you tonight, brother. and you know what, family? I want before we even start this show, I want you to put your hands over the screen, everybody listening now and in the future. And I want you to send heavenly love and light to our guests, Lloyd Strayhorn, Baba Phil, and their families. Let's do love and light for the purpose of healing, elevation, prosperity, bliss, regeneration. And we'll do that. Let's start that right now. Let me see if I can get some sound on. For family, these are elders. Show them some love and light. Give them prayers starting now. And I'm gonna find this music. I think we can put a little clip on so that you can send light to our brothers now. Yes, I am supreme healing, love and light to Baba Phil and all his queen, all his children, all of their children. Yes, I am supreme healing to Lloyd Strayhorn, to all of his children, all of his family, friends, and loved ones. We thank you, Lloyd. We thank you, Phil, all that you give to the community. May you receive the heavenly blessings through our hearts, our minds, as we say, Ashe, Aho. Thank you, Miss Bliss, for your generosity, your big mama spirit, helping the show and all those who come within realms of your big mama healing love light. Soft love, tough love, bright love, let it shine day and night. And we just thank you. Thank you for being born, Baba Phil. Thank you for being born, Lloyd Strayhorn. Thank you for being alive, Miss Bliss. And thank you, the listening audience, right now, for being born, being alive. And may this show help you as you help us, as we help each other rise in Ubuntu, elevate, accelerate, transmutate. May we be forgiving to all in our life stream. And as we learn to crystallize into perfection, may all life forgive us. Ashe. Aho.
Ashe.
Could y'all hear music?
Yes, I did.
Okay, because that's the first time I tried that. All right. Bill, you got the platform. What's happening? What does it look like to you, brother, man?
Well, it looks very interesting from my perspective. I look at the numbers, of course, as Lloyd was speaking on. And the Bible always spoke about the number 7 being a time of rest, when the Creator essentially has done all the work necessary to bring forth the material world, and at this point pulls away from that creation so that it takes on a life of its own. So what we have to do now is, based on all the works we've been doing, because it's been pretty hard through the last 7 years, if you look at it. And if you're dealing with what is called ascendance and transcription, when when an entity goes from one space to another, it does so in what is called elemental transcription. So as we transcend different elements, say when we're dealing with the periodic table, we're dealing with the ascendancy based upon us drawing in all possible materials related to the material world. And as we come to each stage of development in our spiritual lives, we come to a point where we have a process where you go 1.1, 1.1.2, 1.1.3, 1.4, and it goes all the way up to 1.1.6. And what happens is there is a resting period, and then it goes to the number 8, which essentially is the time when in the Taurus, all things that started at one point comes back around to meet itself. And that sets up a paradigm for the next, say, 100 or 1,000 years, depending on the intention of that particular consciousness paradigm. And I know what we teach at our university is a little advanced, but what I could tell you is that this 7 year is a time, as Lloyd said, a very spiritual time. And that spiritual time is for reflection and for you to become more patient. It isn't that you're not supposed to be proactive, but proactive does not mean impatience and trying to force situations. The spirit, the energy necessary for creating the 8 cycle, which is as above, so below, is what you maintain in your mind as the fixed picture of what is to come. You have the ability to set a precedent in the atmosphere, in the ethers, based upon how you deal with all the trials that came before, how you are dealing with it now, that you're not holding on to any judgments, that you're not interfering with it based on all kinds of reflections on pain, suffering, and so forth. You see the suffering happening, but you must become, as an elemental, distinct from it. You cannot become part of it because you feed it when you become part of it emotionally. And the emotional body is what's necessary for bringing material things into existence. So your emotions, once you become a creator, you cannot imbue it with emotions that have either this or that type of mentality. You have to leave it alone and allow it to gestate. And this is what the number 7 in the next year is going to be about. Maintaining a spiritual focus, knowing what the vision is about, and allowing everything to show you. Don't force the issue. Allow it to come to you as Lloyd aptly said, it's a magnetic time. So know that you're going to be calling all forms of elementals to you. The fire, air, water, and earth constitutes the WORD of God. And once you understand the magnetic principle of thought, understand that your thoughts are going to qualify how those words, how those elements come together. So as you speak the word as a thought, you are drawing the word of God, fire, air, water, and earth, which becomes the foundational elements for the manifestation of material things. So make sure that in your mind and in your thoughts, that you do not add anything to the ethers, to your surrounding inside the bubble that you call your aura. Do not add anything that interferes with the purest vision that you have for what you want to see manifest. Hoping that I'm understood.
Yeah, man.
And I
That's
want to add to
beautiful.
that too.
Yes, please.
When I said 7, as Phil aptly said, 7 is very spiritual. This is when people start going back to church,
Mhm.
become born again Christians, get psychic readings, go to psychic fairs, or whatever the case is. It's like you're searching for something that goes beyond the normal 5 senses of things. It's like you're searching for a higher, shall we say, for lack of a better way of putting it, more an invisible force to
Mhm.
work. But the point is not to chase. And in fact, there's perhaps no accident that every major person of religious background or founders of religions are sevens. Christ's birthday celebrated on the 25th. Reverend Billy Graham, born on the 7th. Bishop Tudu is born on the 7th of South Africa. Elijah Muhammad that founded the Nation of Islam, born on the 7th. Mary Baker Eddy that founded Christian Science was born in the 7th month on the 16th day. That's the 7th. Buddha
Indeed.
was born on the 7th. Charles
Wow.
Washington found Jehovah's Witness. I was born on his birthday, February 16th. 1 + 6 is 7. They will tell you when a Muslim goes to Medina to make his Hajj around the Kaaba stone, he must circle it 7 times.
times.
Wow.
Yeah, that
All I-
number, and that's the cycle of what is called elemental accretion. In elemental accretion, it goes like I said, 1.1, 1.1.2,
Yep.
1.3, and that's the accretion cycle for spiritual advancement in the physical flesh. What we call
Mm.
the periodic table is what man's thoughts brought of the ethers into the physical realm. Because you go pursuing all the elemental materials that we see here. This is not just invisible nothingness. The surrounding element of what we call the atmosphere is suffused with elements that we have not yet discovered, but they are discovering them now, which is why you see the CRISPR technologies and the AI technologies. They understand
Mhm, mhm,
what's going on. So your mind is AI.
Mm.
It is Amen's intelligence. You understand what I'm
Mm.
saying? You have to deal with something that's much more, much greater, and everything that they deal with artificial intelligence is a mimic of your Armenian intelligence, and they're trying to copy that in order to circumvent your direct connection to the Amen force.
Wow.
And it's interesting because Phil was talking about the 1.1, 1.2 up to 1.6.
Hmm.
Well, if you look at 1.6, that's 7, which is rest.
Indeed, and then
Indeed.
at that point it rests,
Yep.
and all that came to the new paradigm becomes the eight. So
Yep.
everything that we are getting ready to do, as above, so below, that number eight, which is set on its side as Taurus, which is infinity, is what we set the eight, the as above, so below. Everything that we draw from the seventh cycle is going in now to become what is the paradigm for the eighth cycle. So what are we now going to fix in our minds as the template for what we want to see manifested? And that's very difficult right now because we're going to be in a lot of pain. You're going to see a lot of suffering because the counter forces, or what we call the adversarial forces, they're here to destroy. They're here to
Mm.
undermine because they worship chaos. But it's a necessary component for the developmental stages of order. If you do not understand chaos, if you do not dive
Mm.
into the well of chaos, you cannot understand that your introduction into chaos is the organizing field for order. So you cannot shun chaos. You invite chaos because that's what the Most High is. The Most High is chaos. The Most High is everything and that could ever possibly be and ever was. So
Mm.
that particular part of you is you reflecting back to chaos or back to the Most High. You are the avatar of order for the Most High's chaos.
Mm. So in this energy, what I've been feeling, family, is the ability to meditate. Just it seems like it's been getting better. And I felt some really interesting energy right around what they call Christmas. But someone in the chat, oh yeah, Bliss, an idea came to me, and this idea, and I'm going to share it with you and Lloyd and Phil. The idea was to come and invite, by way of this um, symbol, to invite you into the Magnets, Crystals, Pyramids WhatsApp group. So we're just going to show you that from time to time. And what you do is you replay the show and you can join the group. Now, we colorful folks, so if y'all act up, we're gonna have
Oh
to
no,
we're gonna have to we're gonna have
this
to
ain't
put
no Christian chat.
yeah, we're gonna have to put you in the corner. But it seems like around the time of that Christmas weekend, because I think Christmas fell on Sunday. Was that correct, Lloyd? You said,
Yes, and yes.
but I felt like there was some kind of galactic initiation, or there was some kind of energy happening that I really felt like all of my DNA switches were being popped on real smooth. What was going on, um, astrologically, brother? my
Mm.
brother. Was it something to be aware happened last weekend with the
Quickening.
planets?
It was a quickening.
Mm.
You have to remember that the preparation for this cycles always has a quickening because the template and the sigil for the what do you call that when you're dealing with architecture, you have a template. They call the template something, a schematic.
Hmm.
That schematic for what is to come is always in the ethers because based on the previous human interaction with the ethers, the countermeasure, which is the God countermeasure, always sets up the template for setting up the answer, for setting up the solution. And
Mm.
if you align your mind, empty your mind of any pain, of any judgments, of things that you hold on to in order to think that you need to resolve them in the future, that interferes with the signals necessary for bringing that energy into being. So when you start at this point, you don't there is no accident. We're in a cycle of development at this point that the Most High has already given you the solution for. And when I say Most High, that there is a greater intelligence than we could ever fathom that we do not access and do not take the time to understand. And sometimes religion gets in the way because when
Mm.
you relegate yourself to myths and things like that, you're dealing with pseudo connections. You're dealing with second hand experiential realities when you have a first hand relationship with the Most High here and here.
Mm.
When you go to somebody else to interpret, what the name of God is for you, why would you go to somebody else and call it a name? Because by calling God a specific name, you limit it to your own feeble, little tiny mind. So when I call upon, and I don't mean to insult Jesus or Allah and these names that you assign to it, these codes that you create are limitations to people's perception and interpretations. The Most High should be named by you. What particular, at this time in the seventh cycle, what particular name do you give to that thing that is unknowable? And through your attempts to know it, becomes the unknown that you now quest to become known.
That's deep, man.
No, that's quite, but that's Phil though. He goes down the rabbit hole. Okay,
And
But
you know what?
but I
Kevin,
want to, but I want to add something to what he was saying too about AI, and I think this society is giving AI a little bit more props than it needs.
mhm,
AI had to come from the human mind first.
amen.
The AI didn't just create itself.
No,
Okay,
no.
so yes, the AI is good. It can do all these things that you want nowadays, but there's no substitute for the human mind. I get, and that's why I like that movie that came out called Hidden Figures, when they were talking about these black women, which they referred to as computers, that they were solving all the math and the logic of getting manned into space and back from space through the faculties of the mind.
That's because they added the psychic part that these Europeans didn't have.
Yeah,
You see
yeah.
what I'm saying? They had not developed that part. And remember, your ancestors are speaking through the DNA in the woman. The black woman, they call the black woman, or actually, I call the original feminine principle on earth. She, in her mitochondria, holds on to the entire library of experiences while in the flesh. So you have to understand the mitochondria in the female, in the black woman, is the oldest library. That's the Alexandrian library of humanity.
And wasn't the oldest living relic was a woman found in Africa?
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Hmm.
you see, that's what that symbol of Mut is across the sky. You have to understand that we understand that anything that's physical is feminine. I don't care what it is you touch. You could touch this, you touch the salt shaker, you touch anything. Anything that's molded into something that is accessed by the senses is feminine. The invisible realm is masculine. We are the ones that feed into all potentials that the feminine principle expresses. So
Wow.
when we give her our seed, we are activating that part that is potential. She is the potential for everything that could possibly manifest on earth. And that's why we say as above, so below. And that's why they are trying to destroy the connection between man and woman today. They're trying to
Yeah.
destroy that connection, and they're trying to take away her divine principle of femininity, not understanding that it's a component to the creation principle. If they have her acting like men, then you have completely distorted, which is a satanic principle. It is to insult God, which is to insult everything that's created that brings balance. The satanic principle, which is what we deal with, which is our adversary, which pushes us forward, is there to challenge us. It is not for us to join and then become satisfied with the little earthly things, the little senses that they give to you. That's a trap. You can become trapped by your senses. And that's what the problem is with us today. We have now, the young people have become so overburdened with sensual input that they have to look into their computer in order to get the new rush. The food doesn't do it anymore. The food has deadened your spirits. It's caused your pineal to be calcified. It's caused your pituitary to go wild because young girls now, 8, 9, and 10, are looking for sex. They're doing these things purposely to us because they understand that the next cycle is not going to be dependent upon them. Next cycle is us. We have to take the autonomy over our bodies, our minds, and our spirits.
And speaking of that, about maybe less than a month ago, there was something in the news about a mom who took the internet or something from the child,
Right.
and the son literally destroyed the house.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Literally destroyed the
I
house.
think he killed his mom.
Yeah, I think he killed her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
shows exactly what Phil is talking about, how the influence now is so abstract. Did you know that a child can get on the internet and look up X-rated movies?
That's what I was told. Young people calling me now.
I was shocked when they told me. I
Yeah.
was shocked.
It's becoming now so crazy because you understand that the adversary must do this in order to circumvent the next spiritual reality. You're not going to be needed. They're not needed anymore. Their particular time is gone, and they're definitely holding on to every little bit of power they have at this time. It's not going to work, but they're not going down easy. That's the
But
problem.
but that may explain why Bill Gates' attitude is to block out the sun. And
Indeed.
my attitude is, who died and made him God?
Mhm.
Because only Dracula fears the sun.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Oh, yeah. And how about the fact that the Chinese have now set up into outer space an artificial sun? Because there is a, it's dealing with mirrors, and it can be used as a weapon. In fact, there was a James Bond movie that essentially had that same principle or same reality of setting up an artificial sun. I forgot what the name of the project was, but it was done in the Arctic, and it was a big James Bond type of thing. But
Yeah, I remember that. I'm
yeah,
trying to remember the movie myself.
yeah. And so what they did was they set up this artificial template of sun because there's been an examination of the sun's rays. Now the sun, being a living principle of life itself, it's the electrical principle of life. It goes through a recharging period, and that recharging period dims its influence even when it's at its peak over the northern hemisphere. So they're saying that in their assumption, the sun is somehow dying, and the sun is somehow losing its power, and that they're blaming it on climate control and all this type of nonsense. There are cycles of rest and activity. The sun
Mhm.
does the same thing, and they're using this as a means of injecting whole new modes of control for you, and what they're going to be demanding of you as far as vaccinations. And I know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to put that word in there because I know, edit it out.
Oh, you know what? You
Yeah,
meant to say
yeah, 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 yeah. The Dr. J. You know,
uh-huh.
so
Finger,
yeah,
finger, finger,
yeah.
me, finger, reality.
Just make sure that you take it out of there because I don't want to have it.
Hey, and you know what we say? Oh, we're talking about the finger. Well, go ahead, brother.
But I just want to say that we have to be more circumspect with our words because words have power.
Yes, they do. Great power.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I
Get
like?
ourselves together, make sure that we have little candles. This is like being a spiritual time. Get to bed a little earlier nowadays, simply because you're going to need it for the trials that are going to be ahead. You're going to have to charge, like when one of my teachers, Doctor Baba Gregory, was speaking about the fact after say 8 or 9 o'clock, your brain switches on and goes into a resting period, and it goes all the way through to about 4 o'clock. If you're not recharging in that cycle, you're going to start losing memory energies. You're going to start losing your ability to have immediate cognition. There's a delay in the synaptic charge and transfer of electrical energy based on your thoughts trying to figure A, B, and a third. So rest is very important for the brain. So it's necessary that you get into bed early. And I know there's a lot of people who have to deal with what they call the graveyard shift.
Oh,
That's why
wow.
they call it the graveyard shift, because it kills your brain cells. You have to working at that time is completely contrary to nature. Everything sleeps at that particular time, while you're burning up the energy that your body stores in order to maintain health. And as a doctor of naturopathic medicine, every time I see people come in that have problems with sleep cycles, headaches, certain types of feelings of exhaustion and so forth, they all have night shifts or they all stay up to very, very late. See, so this is a time when you can get into some discipline if you can, to get as much rest as possible.
I
And
was
I want to agree with that. Dr. Dick Gregory, he
Yeah,
had mentioned that one of the challenges in this country, believe it or not, is sleep deprivation.
deprivation. Yes,
wow.
We just don't get enough sleep. They want you, listen, around the clock, there's something to capture your attention on your phone, on your TV, on your computer. It used to be a time where everything was shut down at a certain time. Even
oh
the TV stations back in the 50s, they
I
would shut
remember,
down.
Television used
I
to shut
That
remember,
was
down.
it.
I
Okay.
remember.
You had to wait till the next morning. Nowadays, 24/7, 724.
And
Nothing. And
and
in fact,
remember
it's
they said
almost
it's 10
like
o'clock.
saturation. It's like an overdose, an overabundance of
It's a drug.
information.
It's a drug. And
Yeah.
yeah, if I may, most people don't understand that if you become addicted to thoughts, which is what they want you to do with this type of technology, they want you consistently to plug into the computer, because that's what you are. You're in the matrix right now, and you're consistently connected. The very fact that you have one of these means you're connected into the matrix. Now, what happens is they've captured your thinking process. They have you addicted to
Mhm.
a kind of an endorphin high to listen to whatever somebody else is going through. If somebody has some kind of beef with somebody, you want to hear all about it. They got you into what I call gossip mongering mode. And so when you start thinking about it, if you shut down that thinking process, if you shut down the ability to think, your brain now, being addicted like an addict, starts looking for thoughts as its drug. Today I found a lot of my students, they can't access and be comfortable in the silence. It is
It's true.
it is a great fear when everything shuts down and there's no thoughts in their head, especially when I teach them meditation and how to secede from thought. When you secede from thought, the body starts saying, well, where's my fix? Where's my fix that shows me that I'm alive? That tells me that somehow, by me thinking, that somehow my body is being told, hey, you exist. But when you get out of that particular artificial pattern and you fall into the silence, you go from thought to a place called intelligence. You see, intelligence is the silence. The silence is a vocal access to the mind of God. You don't understand that when you start speaking in your mind and you have a thought in your head, that you've obstructed your direct connection, because that thought that you're bringing up is of the past. It has nothing to do with what you are. And I'm not saying who, I'm saying what you are as a divine spirit. You have nothing. Your thought is an artificial mechanism that keeps you fixated to the physical world. When you secede from that, and you can, through the process of what we call meditation, When you secede from the addiction of thinking, all of a sudden you fall into this space, and this space has nothing to do with thoughts of past, present, future, pain, anything. And that's a frightening place to be, especially when your body knows, because body consciousness knows that it is temporal. It only lives for a certain period of time. The cells know that. And so
Hmm.
your very body has this thing where it wants to defend you from even having to access anything to do with the divine, because they know that after the you access the divine, this means nothing. Your senses abate. There's no more tasting of sugar-free foods and heavy spices. There's no more yen for sexual gratification consistently. All this is body consciousness. When you leave that space and go into the divine, the body starts fearing. It starts doing this. It starts looking for thoughts. I need thoughts. I need to eat. I need to feed on something that gives me relativeness. It gives makes me feel like I'm real. So once you get past that, family, this is the best time in the seventh cycle to learn how that your thoughts are not you. They are simply the past reflecting everything that you're doing, and the only thing that exists right now is the now. It's what we call the isness of being. Access that, and you access the universe.
But you know, and what in this take another step with Phil saying, meditation is extremely powerful. It's
Mhm.
so powerful that it almost sounds corny.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And people can't meditate because their brains are always busy. So I tell people who are first starting, the worst thing to do is try to tell your brain to stop, because that's like me saying, okay, guys, don't think of the color orange. Well, guess what's going to come to mind?
Mhm.
Orange. So what you don't do is fight it. You just let it go through its whatever its process, and then gradually over time you will win. So now
Indeed.
when I go into meditation, I'm there anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes, even an hour with no problem. And it's a good feeling. It's a
Yes.
feeling of solitude and quietness, and it makes you focus and
Yes.
concentrate. And I found since I've meditated, I always seem to be in the right place at the right time.
And your thoughts are in the right place at the right time as well,
Yeah.
because in my meditation cycle that I teach, I say to people, sit down comfortably. You don't have to cross your legs. You don't have to put your leg behind your neck or any of those type of nonsense. Sit down and be comfortable. And the first time you try it, you'll fall asleep many times, because your brain is so exhausted by thoughts that when you
Hmm.
shut down and think about what you want to think about, so to speak, like what Biden says, if you want to just chill for a minute, all kinds of things come up. I call them cricket thoughts. And if you've ever been outside in the dark and you hear crickets, they're all over the place.
Yeah.
Things are going off in your head. Sit quietly. And the problem is, people who teach meditation, they want you to resist those thoughts. You don't resist them.
Mm-mm,
It
mm-mm,
is bring
mm-mm.
them in, but never add your judgmental thinking to what is in your brain as the reflection of that past. Because all the pictures, all the things that come up, or did I turn off the stove? I got to pay
Mhm.
rent. I got to do all these things that come up that deals with the temporal world. It's going to come up to reflect. And what you do is to just watch and observe, because that's what's looking. The observer is what's looking at your thoughts. You are not your thoughts. Because if you listen to your thoughts, you have to think, what is listening? If you see certain pictures in your mind based on thoughts, or you bring back certain feelings, what is it that's actually seeing those thoughts? Because I remember having music in my head and I'm thinking about music, but the music is playing and somebody is listening to that music in my head. That's your observer, completely distinct from all your thoughts, from everything else.
Mhm.
Once your observer becomes more and more understanding that your thoughts are not you, then every time you go into meditation, less and less of those thoughts come in. They tend to kind of evaporate the way the dew evaporates with the sun. And all of a sudden, one day, you fall right into this silence once you go into the meditation, and there's nothing there. That's true meditation. Not this, oh, Muddy, pardon me, oh,
Let me give you
yelling
an
and screaming and
example.
all.
Directly
Hmm.
across the street from me, they're constructing this 6 or 7 story building.
Right.
So in the morning, when they start knocking, it's all day. So this morning I kind of overslept. I got up about maybe 6:37.
Mhm.
And you know, I went right by my window, right by that building, meditated, and even with all the noise, there was no noise. I know
Noise.
this sounds weird.
Oh no, it doesn't.
I would have been distracted before,
Hmm.
but because I do this on a regular basis, a daily basis, consistently, it was almost as if the noise was a way of making me go deeper into meditation.
Yeah,
I
it
can't
is.
explain it.
Yeah, it becomes your guiding light.
Yeah,
It becomes a kind of signpost. You don't resist it. You bring it into that reality, and
perfect, perfect. That's right.
it no longer exists.
I was just about to ask for people who live in a city and they're dealing with a lot of noise, music outside, construction, the phone is by their head or the TV's inside the bedroom. A lot of times they're reporting that when they travel upstate New York or further south, they're much more calmer.
Yeah.
It's easier for them to focus. So what is it about the city and how can they get past this? Because they're almost saying that they're jittery a little bit or on edge or nerves. And when they leave, it's some sort of calmness.
Well, I'll give you my experience, Bliss. I spent 2 weeks in Trinidad, right? What I
Okay.
would hear in the morning are the roosters. That's what I heard in the morning, right?
Right.
I get back here to New York City. This city was and it was about like 6 in the morning. It was the most noisiest. You're absolutely right. But you'd have to go to another environment to understand the chaos or the noise that's constantly in this city.
Indeed. And you see, your thoughts operate on a specific cycle. It operates on the theta wave cycle. In the city, your theta waves completely are overridden by all types of microwaves and different types of interfering, interlocking waves that are completely conflicting and completely blocking your access to the theta wave stream, which is the thought wave stream. When you get out of the cacophonous noise that your body on subtle levels, remember you have subtle bodies, and subtle bodies are affected by subtle energies. So you can build up a thick skin, so to speak, or you can allow it to happen, but not to set up a resistance because then that resistance blocks you completely from any kind of connection to that God force. When you go into the woods, what happens is you're around living energies. The trees are alive. They are setting up God reflected energies that you now are more harmonious with. And so there's no artificial electrical energy or impulses to interfere with what your trees are your electrical connections to every anything, how do you say that, your power lines,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
your trees and the life in this in the woods, because I, as you know, raised in Trinidad as a Trinidadian, you had the power lines of life and nature, water, the trees, they spoke to you, the wind spoke to you, the ocean spoke to you, the birds spoke to you. It's a whole other frequency when you get into the wilds, and that's why people need to go there to kind of decompress.
Okay. Thank you. Thank
So
you.
you're absolutely right, Bliss. That
I
what
have a,
you're saying, you're absolutely right.
thank you. I have one more question. So if thoughts are things, and it's going to really be strong next year, what happens if we have a worldwide chaotic situation, sort of similar to the one we just experienced, or maybe even like 2011? So how does one find peace when there's literally chaos all around them, including amongst their own family members, within their own households? How do you escape this?
Well, I think some of it is manufactured, especially the one called fear.
Okay.
Fear is very powerful. It's a lot of these people now that are taking jabs and all this stuff, all of it is based on fear. And in fact, this is what they found out about the flu, the Spanish flu of 1918. That it wasn't really the flu. It was five soldiers. One fell out. He died. And the CDC at that time went on to claim and use those five soldiers. And although the other four soldiers recovered, by the way, but This was used to justify the inoculations of all its citizens.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Well, yes, and to dovetail on what brother Lloyd said, the actual Spanish flu was created when the war for World War One happened, and they inoculated these young troops
Yep.
with a specific type of vaccine, and they started dying. When they came back, the vaccine began to take hold, and of course, they said that it wasn't a Spanish flu; it was the vaccines that actually created the condition. So it gave them the excuse. Nobody died from any Spanish flu. They died from they were iatrogenically murdered
Hmm.
by the vaccines, but they would never tell you that. They'll never tell you that. And
Mhm.
Lloyd brought up a very good point. Now, your question, could you repeat that again that you were saying about?
So we know that next year is going to be a lot of focus on thoughts of things and what we're focusing on. And so if another pandemic, so to speak, is created and we're all trying to focus on what we need to focus on spiritually, and we're trying to be, experiencing growth. However, it's literally chaos
Right,
going on all around us, at our jobs, within our families, within our own homes.
right.
How is one supposed to just focus spiritually
Well,
when
that's a good
there are
question.
attacks coming everywhere, financially, with the
Yeah,
job, with the church, with, everywhere?
good question. Um, when you're dealing with healing, and this is from being a doctor of naturopathic medicine, when you're dealing with healing, there is a period when you go through the healing cycle, and it is traumatic. If you're dealing with natural healing, of course, and you're not taking any medications or medicating materials to suppress the symptoms. All healing comes with a form of trauma if you're dealing with it naturally. There is a time when the body brings everything to the surface if you're doing it naturally. It brings the disease to the surface, and that's when you go through suffering, great suffering. But to understand how to suffer properly, there's an art form called orthopathy. Orthopathy essentially breaks down in the Greek to mean correct suffering. And what you're dealing with is suffering that mitigates, the doctors mitigate suffering by drugging it, trying to kill the actual expression of the healing process.
Mhm.
We help you to go through the suffering process and help to mitigate some of the suffering by putting not a dead drug, but good materials that the body automatically needs, because the suffering is based upon the lack of something.
Mm.
Okay? When the body lacks something, that's when you get pain. That's an indication that the body is telling you, listen, I need A, B, and a third. Get with it, or else I'm going to just keep this showing you what's necessary until such time as you give it so much drugs that you don't feel anything anymore because the nerves are dead now. And that's when you talk about cancer and the whole 9 yards. But when you're healing and you're bringing the disease to the surface, take that from the microcosmic and expand it to the macrocosm. The madness that you see collectively is based upon the disease, the mental disease, the psychological diseases, the operational diseases, political and so forth, that has been festering in our society. And now that there is a change in the paradigm, the chaos that was suppressed by what they would come out on the, oh, everything is all right, or we'll just throw some more money at it, and so it's not going to work anymore, because that form of medicating and mitigating those symptoms of our society are no longer going to work. Now you're going to deal with, you can't fool Mother Nature. And now she's going to say, okay, to rectify this situation, I have to cleanse the way I know it. That's why when you have a problem and you have a disease and you say you got a fever, try eating while you have a fever, or try tasting anything while your nose is all stopped up. Because the body says, I'm shutting everything down that has been contrary to me trying to heal you. So you can't sleep, you can't, you're miserable, you're going through all kinds of, do you know that before you even go through that, your body has 2 or 3 weeks before that started the cycle that would bring you to this point to offload what was causing the problem. But what do? You take a pill here, you take a pill to shut down your body's ability. Well, this is what's getting ready to happen to our society. there's going to be an upheaval that is based upon a suppression of symptoms. You cannot heal a society by throwing money at it, by using your old style racist forms to deal with suppressing people, to build more jails. All of these are the mitigating factors that this society, a very racist society, has levied on us. So now, are you ready to deal with the healing factor, with all the chaos in your family?
Mm.
Can you remain centered and know that this is not them? This is the reaction. This is nature now using her forces
Mm.
in order to start the healing process at the microcosmic level, at the microscopic level, at the macrocosmic level, from the macroscopic. So that's all it is. It's a equilibrium. It's the Maatian energy. It's the seven. It's the six before the seven. And we're getting ready to get into it, because after all this is over, there's going to be an enlightenment period that you will not believe. My
In fact,
brother, we may not even be here to see that, but we are here. Our job, what we've been tasked to do, what brother Lloyd and what brother Hank has been tasked to do, is to pave the way so that few of you, like you young people, are going to see exactly what it is that our elders, Baba Dick Gregory, Baba Ben, Baba Ben Sertima, Father Clark, all of these people laid, paved, cut down, and hacked their way through the bush and gave us that path to follow. So now
yeah.
we add that torch to you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, no, I was just going to say it's interesting because you said something that triggered to mind, because there's so many dimensions of going through a seventh cycle. Seven is also the cycle of secrets revealed.
Yes,
Things that have been hidden come to the surface. Guaranteed.
indeed, indeed, you hit it right there, and that's what Aquarius is. With the Aquarius's symbol is the maiden pouring out all that was in the vessel, which represented all the secrets. There will be no more secrets. This is the age. We left the age of I believe. We are in the age of I know now. The
Yeah.
Aquarian or the Happy age is I know. That's why these young people think they can come and take over right now, because they're the I know generation.
Mm.
We
True, they know everything, right?
because they know, and the thing is, we're leaving the Christian generation, which is Pisces,
Mhm.
which is the I believe.
Yes.
You see? So now you see the fish is going up and it's going down. This new fish is no longer going down into the depths of ignorance and going into this faith-based situation. They're going into the surface where the light is, and that's where the I know situation is. And you have to remember that the age of Hapi is also the age of the homosexual.
Well, I do know a lot of those babies be looking like little baby grandmas and grandpas. You ever
Yeah.
see some of their faces? They look
Mhm.
like a little old person in a new body.
Yeah, and they're talking earlier too.
Yeah.
Have you heard them? And they're playing. They got 5-year-olds playing Bach.
Wow.
These are old souls coming back, because they're the ones who set the trend for all the craziness we're dealing with right now. They're
And I'm
coming
here,
back right now. They were in the ethers learning what they had to do when they came back.
and
And
I
in
hear a
fact,
lot of the young people.
there was a 9-month-old little boy that was actually reading flashcards. I
Yes,
mean, he knew the word. He could barely say them correctly, but you knew he knew what he was looking at. That's
yes,
the point. And
yes.
Wow.
he couldn't have been no more than 10 months old, 9 or 10 months old.
Yeah, they look old. They look old. I mean, they have this, and they like the sounds of Motown and
Yeah, they're like,
Philly.
oh,
They
yeah.
don't like that rap music. They
Yeah, have
like
you
the
seen the
old
new
school
kids?
music.
Have you seen the ones that's dancing now, black and white? Now my son sets me, and a lot of my students send me these kids that are dancing now to our old music from the
Yes.
70s and 80s. You
They
know,
coming back.
because
They're like, look, that was so good. Earth, Wind, and Fire. I'm going back to get my desire higher.
yes, yes, yeah. But you have to remember too that this is a time. Um, I did a thing with what's his name from uh, what's the name of that group? Um, Professor Griff. That's the name. Uh,
Public Enemy.
Public Enemy. Yes.
Yeah.
And Professor Griffin and I did a thing in Atlanta where I was speaking about the fact that we have now come from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius, and the age of Aquarius was the age of Ganymede. The age of Ganymede was the story of Zeus, who snatched a young boy who was tending his father's cattle, snatched this young boy up into Olympus and raped him. This is the story, yes. Ganymede. So now Ganymede was handed around to all the gods, and he became the cupbearer of the gods. So at that time, you started seeing a lot of these rappers coming up with these cups, these pimp cups, and they were all signed in and caught into the trap of dealing with the Ganymede energies. So a lot of people are looking at us transitioning into this confusing time, this air age that they call Aquarius, which is the age of Hapi. This is the age when, again, the mental and the psycho-spiritual is going to be very prominent. But there's going to be this dichotomy where you're going to see a lot of this distortion in the polarities before there is a harmony after the second cycle of what we call Aquarius. That's why you see a lot of the gay and a lot of the people transiting because they don't know. The people who don't know what they are was spoken about in the book called Poimanda. The book of Poimanda was written by Jehudi. Okay, and the book of the Poimanda said, "Those who do not exercise the principles of the Creator, which is being a father and being a mother, if they do not have children, they come back not knowing what they are. Why? Because the child essentially is representative of creation, the infinite aspect of creation. If you, as a man, do not understand what it is to be a father and become fixated in the choice that you made to become a male, you are supposed to be forwarding a balancing factor that represented the creator, which means you activate creation and you nurture it the way the Most High nurtures us. That then becomes something fixed in your DNA, and you know that you will come back as either that, black, if you understand what I mean. The same thing with the mother. Once she becomes a mother, there's no other feeling like that. A woman is simply like they call her a queen, but she elevates to become an empress once her womb becomes fertile and she brings life into the world. That creates a whole other resonance in the force, so to speak. And you now become fixated. There's something that comes up in you that takes away your selfishness and you become selfless. You become more like the creator. You are nurturing this particular child the way the creator nurtures you on another level. So if you pass away, and I'm not saying this is true, but this was written thousands of years ago, that if you do not have that bonding, that physical bonding, because you chose to come back in the flesh, and there are laws that govern the flesh, as above, so below. If you do not exercise what it is that is the creative process above, and you don't exercise it below, then there's this confusion should you choose to come back in the flesh. So you're going to see a lot of children and a lot of people coming back who do not know what they are as a father or as a mother. So they are opting out of what their template is told them is their mandate to become. Now, they're going to fight me, but in the metaphysical world, we understand, Lloyd, that when you're dealing with what the ancients have said, it ain't because they were dumb. You got to
No,
remember,
not hardly.
not
But I'm
hard.
saying, but we're actually dealing with some of that now that people don't know where they are. There's no father in the home or male in the home to give a son direction.
There
Then
it is.
they got the women thinking they don't need a man, which is that's the biggest dupe
Insane.
and scheme that they ran
Yeah,
on the women, because
yeah,
the women are the foundation to life as well. We all need each other, so
indeed,
I
indeed,
don't care how you slice it.
And
Okay,
indeed.
Lloyd and Phil, what's and Bliss, I've been getting text messages about the number of young folks committing suicide. Could y'all touch on that?
Yeah, that's because they do not have guidance. These young
Mm.
people understand that there's another life beyond it, and they don't care anymore. You see,
Yeah,
but really, you see, there are a lot of us back in the day, the physical flesh became the addiction. So everybody wanted to live to 1,000 years. Young people coming in today because of this particular cycle of the I know, they're saying, listen, I thought that I came here to do a certain thing, and there was nobody to help me regiment to that purpose. I'll leave. I'll come back.
Wow.
If
Hmm.
you see, most of them what are alone, they're lonely.
yeah,
Most of them don't have the. We're not taught to become girded and strong constitutionally to take bullying or so forth. They're weak, and they come up in insufficient surroundings where there's no father, there's an overworked mother,
yeah,
there are siblings that do not belong to the father of to his or her father. There's a confusion in it, and this is the people who deal with satanic principles know exactly what to do to actually introduce chaos where they can create their own order through the chaos that they created.
Hmm.
You see, so yes, these children don't really care, and especially since they've been given this particular matrix tool, they look into the matrix and see what is supposed to be, because the matrix tells them this is what's perfect. If you do this, you're not perfect. Oh, really? Okay, so the matrix now becomes the teacher instead of the mother and the father.
Hmm.
Wow.
Okay, so now the matrix is telling you you're useless if you don't do this. Well, okay, I'm useless. I don't need to be here then.
I want
Mhm.
to I want to give an acknowledgement, being that we're in the sign now. We've come out of Sagittarius and now we're in the sign of a Capricorn. So I want to acknowledge you, Miss Bliss, Capricorn lady. I
yeah,
want to acknowledge Sonata. She's Capricorn.
Yes.
That's
I
the
want to,
initiate. That's
yeah,
the initiate.
I
The
want to,
Capricorn is the initiate.
and I want to
yeah,
acknowledge the magical Queen of Swords who flies out of her body like she's able to get out of her body like we change shirts. So I admire her because she could give you a reading on what's going on over here because she left her body and access other realms. I want to acknowledge that. How's it Capricorn going to be? How's the energy of Capricorn for this year coming up,
Uh-oh.
brothers?
Uh-oh.
Lloyd, Phil, how's it
well,
looking,
Well,
Capricorn?
yeah, yeah.
Phil, you can go first, or I'll do it. Makes no difference.
Well,
Uh-oh.
you're my big brother. You go first.
Okay, here's, I was gonna say as you get into Capricorn because my brain is all over the place. I was gonna say, did you know that all of the black historians are Capricorns, from Dr. Diop, a
Wow.
Capricorn, Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. John Hope Franklin,
Mm.
Dr. Ben Yekinen, Dr. Leonard Jeffries.
Wow.
They're all Capricorns, all of them. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, which rules father time and history.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I'm
Yes.
I'm I'm more concerned about the 13th zodiac.
Oh yeah,
Ooh.
I forgot the name of it.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Ephesus, and
yes,
it's supposed to take place between now and the time that we're dealing with Capricorn. Ephesus is the Jehudian principle. It's the symbol of the alchemist, which is why I teach my students during this time that the thought process, especially going into the seventh cycle, that the focusing on Ephesus at this particular time is focusing in on the alchemic principle that you now deal with as far as thought is concerned. You can allow your thoughts to run wild over you, or you can take it like the raw substance that it is and then refine it by observing it and not playing into the worst parts of it and then extracting the gold from it. So Ephesus is what they took that particular part of the zodiac out of it. That's the Christ energy that they're talking about, the 13th sign. Once we put that 13th sign back in, you begin to understand what Ephesus is. It is the sign of the alchemist. And
Mm.
once we understand the principle of alchemy, not just alchemy that we deal with mundane metals and so forth. I'm talking about spiritual and mental alchemy.
Mm-hmm.
And once that Ephesus is reintroduced back into the cycle of the 12, then you understand the Christ energy. That's the next cycle for representing. They always say, well, we're going to raise the Christ energy. We are the Christ energy. Well, we are missing a component, just like we're missing a specific DNA that the CRISPR technology is trying to extract and trying
Mm.
to with. So understand that there are 13, not 12. And that's what you young people have to come to understand. Get to know the 13th sign if you're going to deal with it, because they're going to actually torture you. The people who are dealing with the right, especially, they hate anything having to do with astrology. They tell you that's a stupid science and so forth. Well, the Pope is one of the top astrologers on the planet.
Listen, he got more astrology books than I got in my home, and I got a boatload.
I know.
Okay,
Wow.
Yeah.
trust me.
So
So
Wow.
they know exactly what it is, and they put out the propaganda not to deal with it. You have to understand that our ancestors understood that the stars were the hieroglyphics that we studied. That was the first
Mm.
hieroglyphics. Okay, that circling dome that you see right there, those are the first. That's our school. Okay, that's the way we kept tabs on what the lesson plan would be from year to year, from age to age, from eon to eon. So
Mm.
understand that the stars and the thousands of years that I have studied the stars, just because it became something called astrology instead of astronomy, when you study something called astrotheology, astrotheology is what we taught. That was the
yeah,
Bible.
yeah.
Okay? When you understood astrotheology, that's when you understood when to plant, when to make war, when to have children, when to do all. They understood that. They don't want you to understand it. They understand it and they practice it every day. So get to know the 13th sign.
And
Mm.
the
That's my
13th sign, supposedly from Ophiuchus, I hope I'm saying it right, is
fusions.
they wedged it between Scorpio and Sagittarius, which moved some of the signs back.
Yeah.
Because when
But
they first came out about 4 or 5 years ago, about all this excitement about the 13th sign, I
yeah,
got more calls. Am I still this sign? Am I still that
yeah,
sign?
yeah.
So
Well, they were talking about now. They tried to again. They're going to confuse us because they put it between Sagittarius and now they put it between Sagittarius and
Capricorn?
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yes,
But that person was between Scorpio and
Scorpio and
Sagittarius. So now they
Sagittarius.
moved it back. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. Very interesting. So I have another question. I'm meeting a lot of people who are interested in the studies of tantric energy, which you did speak about energy. So for next year, if someone's working in that field of tantric energy, which is you could actually heal your heart, you could feel you could heal so many other things within your body and also focus on someone else. So, what do you see with someone who's working with that for next year?
Well, to me, next year would be ideal because next year is the spiritual year. Anything relating to spirituality, metaphysics, new age, mother nature will all experience that during the 7 year.
Indeed,
And that's right around the corner now.
indeed. And if you're going to harness the sexual energy, understand that raising that would be. I had this in my classes. I teach that when you get into a 7th cycle, that's when people's kundalinis or interest in kundalini yoga begin to start elevating.
Bam! I'm feeling mine's rising. I'm like, what in the
Yes.
world? Merry
Yes.
Because you're
Christmas.
a
So
seven, Hank,
hilarious.
and you can't help yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm feeling that.
So,
This is always up. Don't worry. It's always up.
okay.
It's always feeling it.
So that's why I would say to you that once you understand how the cycle for raising that spiritual energy, when you understand how it operates and you guide it sexually, you can open up portals. There are different positions. When I used to teach tantric sexuality back in the day, there are different positions, there are different preparations, there are different aftermaths to the sexual act that doesn't drain. The one thing that is necessary, however, is that the male does not lose his seed.
That liquid crystal.
Yeah,
Hold on to your liquid crystal, and
indeed.
magic will flow.
Yeah,
That's
because
for the man.
indeed. And for her too, because when she begins to understand she lessens her menstrual cycle as well when she understands Tantra. And you can actually get her to open portals based upon her. First of all, the woman has to be very meditatively inclined. And her meditation is not just going into the act to release energy, but to channel it. And once you put a vision into her mind, the best position, of course, would be her to do the straddling rather than her to be under you. And the energy then, if you notice when a woman goes into very passion, if this is us guys, you understand that when she is into a heavy
Teach.
passion, the head goes back. Well, when the head goes back because of that passion, that's when the Kundalini energy has risen and it's hit the pineal and it's gone. She goes into this, the eyes go up, and she can either use that time when that part of her mind is open. She can use that time to start calling what you want to see happen. She now creates that stargate that begins to bring to give more substance to the template thought that you created while before having that sexual act. And so she now becomes the instrument for the manifestation of whatever it is the two of you share and wish to see manifest.
Mm.
Hypnotize, mesmerize. That's the fire. Uh, Lloyd, tell how could
But I
build
didn't do
on this, brother. Y'all getting me excited now. Where's my bicycle?
that.
So I have experience in some other women also where we're taking some of the psychedelic medicines and the kundalini is trying to activate. And some of us when we're meditating also, but there's a fear from other people that we've heard stories where they're saying that if the kundalini rises too fast or if it's not done accurately, you could have some type of damage.
Yes,
So
definitely.
they
In
fight,
fact,
block it.
see, that's the thing. A lot of people with very bad health are trying to open up portals in their spine and in their bodies that have nerves attached to certain organs. If you are not healthy, which is why when you went to study in the East, the first thing you had to go through was months of fasting and de-emphasis on eating certain foods because your nerves are very, very important. You could burn out certain nerves that are connected to certain organs that cause dysfunctions if you raise Kundalini incorrectly. The next thing is that Kundalini is started the way you start a flint. If you've ever been out in the open air, and I've had to I was doing Boy Scout stuff. You had to learn to start a fire.
Hmm.
Well, when you start the fire, especially when you're dealing with it from a fundamental, you have to create a spark. If you do not know how to cause those four layers of your coccyx to start the flint, you don't start the serpent. You don't waken the serpent. So sitting on your hind parts and jumping on your coccyx, that starts the kundalini. Most people don't know that. And then once that starts to agitate, there's a warm feeling because I did it. There's a warm feeling that starts and then there's this feeling that your body starts feeling nervous because it's something that your body's not accustomed to feeling. And then it gets up to your heart and the air. I didn't get past the throat and the brow chakra because you began to feel this tightness in the back of your neck. There's this thing that's wrenching in the back of your neck and in your head is, oh my God. Oh. I said, okay, shut down. No.
Yes, exactly.
Not ready. And so you have to be very careful about raising Kundalini. But see, when you're going through sex, you raise Kundalini, but you raise only a portion of it. It doesn't get toward the entire body. You do feel it through your body, but it's not connected to the chakra points. It goes straight from your coccyx because of the organ and that nerve center and goes right to the bliss center in your brain. it does not take the travel time to actually awaken the different aspects of the body that you see in the caduceus. The serpent is not the serpent. Two serpents going this way. They're different portals. It's made up like the what do you call the Sephiroth? If you look at the caduceus and what the representative of the staff of Asa, you'll
Yes.
see that the points where the curve of the serpent meets is actually the the Hebrew or the Kabbalah, the what I was just saying, brain is going 10,000 miles a
Talking
minute.
about that the tree of life.
Yeah, the tree of life. What you're looking at is the tree of life or the Sephiroth. So the what you're dealing with when you go from down there at the base, you're shooting through and you hit the Darth, and the Darth gets you right into only a portion of it when you're dealing with getting rid of your seed down on earth. But when you are dealing with Kundalini, you are activating every point of that serpent, every point, and that takes time, and it
And it's
takes effort.
highly, you know what I noticed, Lloyd, Phil, Bliss? It's like a magnetic, mesmerizing bliss that goes for yards in every direction.
Mhm.
And, I'm all for, the dose, dopamine, oxytocin,
Yeah,
serotonin,
yeah.
endorphins. But
Yeah,
when
those.
you get that energy going through the body, I mean, I was just sharing with Bliss this week, like puppies were coming around me, little kids would look at me, start laughing. I'm like, what in the world
Yeah,
is
but that's a
going
trap. And
on,
that could
man?
be a trap. That's a chemical trap, though. If
I
you
was like,
not,
I'm just noticing it. I ain't getting caught up in it. I'm just
yeah,
like,
that's what I'm saying. It's a
yeah.
chemical trap. The oxytocin and all of what you get, serotonin, all of those are actually the component parts of a key, a chemical key that unlocks the door to the upper room that they talk about in the Bible. Okay, and that's where once you open that up, that's those chemical codes right there become the area code to God. You see, and that's the thing that we don't do. We don't deal with the area code to the Most High, and it's the coming together of the proper utilization of the Kundalini force that creates the chemical code that becomes the area code to the Most High.
Well, I'm gonna tell you, I think Lloyd is onto that somehow, man, because I watched the way he move and groove. I won't be surprised seeing him at a roller skating rink in the near future, man.
Like, oh, you'll
Rocking
see
to the
me fall
music.
flat on my keisters, okay? Because the brother get skate, and then on ice skates, it's either this way, my ankles this way, or that way, but it ain't straight. That's for sure.
Mine is this way.
Yeah, yeah. But I wanted to say something very important that Phil was talking about earlier about the nature of the stars. The
Yeah.
stars was actually the GPS for the men of old.
Mhm.
That's how they knew when
Beautiful.
the child was born. How they knew all they had to the stars were the GPS. And it's
Well,
I think it's no accident that a black woman, Gladys West, in fact developed the GPS system as we know it
GPS.
now.
There it is.
Ooh,
She
yep.
sure did. She sure did.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so all of us they're complements of nature.
And
Man think they've done something. Man is just catching up with nature, and they will never exceed nature.
no, never.
Nature, Mother Nature will actually swallow this whole planet up from ants to man before it lets man ruin it. And you think Mother Nature is going to let one person block out the sun? Really? For millions of
Ridiculous.
years? You really think that's going to happen?
When they say that the inmates have taken over the asylum temporarily, that's what we're facing right now. The
That's
inmates have taken
interesting.
over the asylum. And what
We're
we have,
just not behind bars, but there's still there's still a silence here.
there they are. There they are. And you're watching essentially now, people are going to become, like you were saying, Lloyd, aptly, very religious during this time because they don't understand the spiritual part of themselves. That spiritual part of yourselves is what your ancestors did to mine the knowledge of God, not just to fixate it into little parables and things of that nature and to follow parables. Some people who are existing on a much lower vibration do need a kind of regulating system to give them some sense of ethics and morality. But there's a graduation time, especially for young people who are not satisfied with just the storyline because they hear stories every day, constantly. They want to
Mhm.
understand from a very microscopic perspective, which is what I've learned to do. I've learned to deconstruct reality into such smaller components and then align them with what they already know to give them a perspective of what metaphysics truly is. Because, as I say in my classes, metaphysics is a re languaging of reality. Everything is based upon the semantics. That's what your whole construct of your perception of reality is. It's based upon what words were given to you in school from the time you're young all the way through. All you have is a description of your reality. You don't have a definition of it. Metaphysics comes into play to teach you the definition behind the description, things that in the invisible world. How do you put words to define the invisible realm when there are no words that they give to you to do that? You have to define around it. You have to bring it into substance by kind of using a puzzle that they can see, using words that they are familiar with to kind of fixate every word into a mosaic that then they say, "Oh, that's what you mean." So in metaphysics, we teach, and just in case anybody's interested, they can call 800-847-1291. I'm sorry, 800-847-1291. You know, we also do the uh, Jabberwocky, the religious
Yes.
exemption to the Jabberwocky. And if you want the exemption to that, we do that. Just call. But please make sure that you articulate and be very clear with your numbers. So
Say that number again. 800
847
847
1291.
1291. I'm
And
just
also,
adding
And
you to the
people are
call.
waking up about the Anunnaki.
yeah. And again, if you want
And
to
they're
do
still trying to do the scary stuff. They put the four-eyed guy, that's called Gates.
yeah,
Like boo,
yeah,
boo.
Well,
yeah,
He's
see,
like,
here in New York, they've got the, as you and I know, and Bliss, since we live here in New York, they've got the tri-pandemic. Is flu, is the COVID, the flu, and the something. There's three. So in other words, they're trying to put the fear up in everybody up in this joint here in New York City.
Well,
Mhm.
the thing is that New York City, California, Chicago, and I think Massachusetts are very difficult because they do not deal with constitutional law. And I deal with the what we call the de jure constitution. There are three constitutions we're functioning under. There is the original one, which is the de jure constitution that we, the Black autochthonists, put together, and that has been mothballed. The two that we're functioning under right now is the municipal constitution and the territorial constitution. The municipal constitution itself is under the Pope. That's what we're dealing with right now with this this commander in thief that's in the house. It just
Hmm.
and what we have to do now is to estrange ourselves from that. But in the meantime, we can use what we already put down as autochthonous people and use that along with other laws that support it for each state. But I will tell you, California, New York, Chicago, and Massachusetts, I think as well, a lot of these so called blue states have gone completely Marxist. They're very difficult to deal with that. So if you're calling me about getting that for the Jabberwocky, then please be knowledgeable to find out whether or not the people or the person that is asking you to get the jab have they given you the option to get either a medical exemption or a religious exemption. Make sure that you definitely do.
Yes.
I don't want you spending any money that you don't have to. It takes about 3.5 hours for me to do one package because it's so suffused and worked into doing the laws that I've been putting together for the last 35 years. So make sure that you know what you want because you have gone and you cleared it with your employer, your school, whatever. That as an ordained minister, that my paperwork will help you. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ashe. I'm actually one of the people who I work at a law firm in New York City, and they did tell me I had two options: medical exemption or the religious, and you did help me. And as of today, I still have my job, thank goodness. And they just allowed us to come back. In New York City, they were like, "Oh, you can go back to work now." So I went back to work, and within the first week, they were saying anyone who didn't have the jab would have to be tested every day that they come to work, and everyone who had it would not have to be tested.
Yeah.
So there was a Christmas party last week,
Yeah.
and I didn't go, but everybody there, 99% of the people at my job received the jab.
Yeah.
They all got sick.
Yeah.
So now I go back to work January. My first question is going to be, why am I being tested?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter whether you have the jab or not. It seems to be that everyone's going to get this.
That's the
And I
lie.
would like to volunteer and said, Phil, help my son too. And that was resolved.
Give thanks.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's going to come out that I know that they probably get you banned again, my friend. But when you find out what's in this Jabberwocky, I did it a year ago. I told everybody what was in it, and they didn't believe. But now it's going to come out with Elon Musk getting hold of
Twitter.
Twitter.
You're going to hear a lot of what it is we spoke about 2 years ago when this whole so-called demic took place. I was thinking of doing another one just to bring everybody up to date, but know that the toxin that's in this thing is comes from snakes.
I heard that before too.
Yeah, yeah, and they know exactly what time it is, um, and it's evil because they're telling you now that anxiety and kids who are looking at too much of what do you call that public access thing that Twitter,
Yeah.
Instagram. They're saying that the kids, young people, are dropping dead because they're too involved in that, and they become high pressure. It's not. This is causing heart, causing what do you call it? Clogs.
The blood
What do you
clots.
call it? Blood clots. That's the word. It's causing blood clots in the heart, especially athletes dropping dead on the field. There
Yeah.
are over 1 million people that have dropped dead at this point. They're not telling you the numbers. Millions have dropped dead at this particular time. And the thing is that because so much information is now coming out from doctors that told the secrets, they're now pulling back and trying to circumvent that by giving lesser doses and minimizing the dose, but the dose still kills eventually. It's a time released poison.
Well, my understanding is for those that have had have taken the Jabberwocky, and
Mhm.
because it's a patent thing, you are now a product of the U.S. government. You're
Good
no
point.
longer a citizen anymore.
Good
They
point.
own you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
exactly what's up. They
The
own you.
same, the same way that very good point, Lloyd. The same way that the crops that are dealing with artificial or what they call genetic engineering of the crops and the seeds,
Yep.
if some of the seeds should fall into your organic garden and then become part of that, and they take an analysis of the crops of your garden, and they have that particular gene in there, they can sue you for uh, copyright infringement.
That's right. Monsanto.
Yeah,
Monsanto.
indeed. So
Monsanto.
the same thing with this Jabberwocky. If they find in your blood that this new thing that they put in there, I don't want to say it because again, every time I said it, I got 3 or 4 of my friends.
We know what bubble gum you talking about.
Yeah.
Right.
But they own you.
Yeah, they do own you because they can actually say that you are no longer an autonomous person. The same way that they create, and this is very interesting, instead of them now creating what they call, um, what's that word? Ens legis, or they create an artificial person with an all capital letter name or all capital letters.
Mhm.
And they create a straw man. Well, that's what they're creating with you now. They don't need to have you have a capital letter name. They just put it into your bloodstream and say that you are owned now. We tagged you like cattle.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. And there's people that's talking about, well, I took it, and I'm okay. No, you're not okay. You're on a time cycle, 7 years. You're going to start seeing all kinds of people dropping dead very young, all kinds of children coming up with all kinds of diseases, and they're dropping dead at 5 and 6 and 7 from some kind of unknown disease. And they're not going to tell you what it is. They're not, you know? So be wary, stay away from that. And it's all a hoax. It's about the WEF, what you call World Economic Forum, and this man by the name of Klaus Schwab, whose father was the Nazi, who had a headquarters in where the eugenics movement actually had its beginnings. So Klaus Schwab is setting up the new paradigm for the blockchain, where you are no longer going to be able to buy and sell. They did a practice run in China where they're going to come after your monies. This is what 2023 into 2030 is going to be about. Taking away all your ability to actually have independent autonomy over your money. Okay,
And if
so
they don't like you, they can cut back on your funds too.
indeed they can shut you down from being able. They did it in Canada. They showed
I
you
was
that.
going to say that's exactly what they did in Canada with the truck drivers.
Indeed,
Mhm.
indeed. So be mindful of the fact that you have to go into things like I did a I wanted people to see. Let me see if I have it here with me. Do I? Yeah.
While you look for that, I have a question for Lloyd
Mhm.
regarding numbers. So
Yes.
I'm looking at the years. So starting from 2020, that's the number 4,
Yeah.
2021, 5. So it goes all the way up to the year that Brother Phil Valentine just mentioned, where it goes all the way up to 13, right? Because 2029 is 13, right?
Yes.
So, but then when we go to 2030, the
And that's
number
a
goes
5.
all the way back down to 5. So,
Yeah.
and that is the year that he's talking about. So is,
No, but see, the numbers are sequential. So even if you say 2029, that adds up to 13.4, and then we
Yeah.
switch to 2030, well, 4, then the next one is a 5.
Indeed.
So it's
And,
just said another way. That's all.
okay.
and the number 5 is simply the number of man upright,
And man of change.
the man of change upright.
Ah.
But there are certain powers that be that really thinks that by 2030, you'll just be happy and
Yeah.
feel fortunate to be able to eat something, go to bed, have a place to stay. But whatever Klaus has on his mind, that's not going to
Oh, it's
happen.
not going to happen. He
It's
says,
not.
yeah, he says, you will own nothing and be happy.
Yes, yes. Now I don't know who he been talking to, but he ain't been talking to the people I know.
Well,
Okay.
he's talking to the 12 families, starting with the Aldobrandinis, the Rossinis, the the Corsis. These are all the people that actually run the planet right now, and
Yeah.
they're the ones dealing. Rothschilds are simply their managers. There's somebody higher than the Rothschild.
Mm-hmm.
You have to
Wow.
understand that these are people that they call. They used to be called the Illuminati, but the Illuminati are nothing but the paper pushers for these people. The Illuminati essentially are the they
They're
are
like
the
the front
face,
man.
front men. Exactly, that's the word. And the people who really run it are, are from the incunabula. That's the ones above the Illuminati. The incunabula is based upon the baby Jesus, and they're always birthing new cycles. They want to be in control of the next cycle. So the incunabula or the baby that you see there, when you see the Pope kissing the feet of the little baby, that's his recognition of the symbol of the incunabula. And they got there's a 12 side. There's the white Pope, the black Pope, and most people don't know that there's a gray Pope. The gray Pope, his name is Pepe Orsini, unless they've changed him. He's the one who runs the black and the white Pope
Hmm.
at this particular time, and he's the one who is the direct representative of these 12 families. In fact, the Aldobrandinis, the what's her name, and Antonina Aldobrandini had more power than the Queen of England. Matter of fact, the Queen of England would go to her and get her instructions for what's to go. So we're not dealing with we're dealing with some of the greatest with secrets that people have no knowledge what's really going on. They only understand the surface, and anything you think you know is only because they want you to know that. Okay,
Well, that's why I like psychedelics.
Well, it's also interesting too, Phil. Some of the most powerful people, you don't know who they are.
right? They could be walking next to you,
Yeah, right next shopping, picking up something you
right?
wouldn't even know.
And they
They're more
all
powerful than you can imagine. The Bill
they,
Gates are the obvious.
right.
Um,
They don't have no grills. They got all kinds of chains and all that type of stuff. They don't wear their wealth. You'll see them walking down the street. They have T-shirts. You don't
yeah,
even know.
you wouldn't even know them.
You wouldn't even know. This is what I wanted to show you. You see this?
Yes.
This is the Glint card. I recommend that people do this. I don't want to show my numbers, so
Yeah, GLINT.
yeah. Glint Pay. It's called glintpay.com. Go up and transfer some of your funds from the bank into Glint because it's a way for you to buy gold. What happens is you can buy the gold, you open up an account with them, you put fiat into that account, and then transfer the fiat into gold. Instead of me spending once the bank starts shutting down, I will have an account that's out of the banking system and directly connected to Switzerland, who's backed by the or insured by Lloyd's of London. You can buy gold that you can bring to your home, or you can buy gold and have it online and spend it. Now, when gold fluctuates, because it's going to go up to like, they talk about it being 1,000, 2,000. Bull.
Yeah.
The real price will go right now is about $14,000 to $15,000
Yep.
an ounce, and it's
Yep.
going to go up to about 50,000 an ounce in order to deal with the necessary liquidity that's going to be necessary to deal with the debt that we're dealing with, the trillions in debt. So gold, which is God's money, needs to have a higher level of worth for it to actually cover the expenses of all the debt that's out there. So when you purchase gold, when I purchase gold, I put a certain amount on it. When it fluctuates upward, the fiat that is represented goes up with it.
Mm.
Now,
So
what is that called? Glint what? What
Glint,
card is
Glint
that?
Pay, P-A-Y, glintpay.com.
Yeah, let me type that in there.
So right now, if you wanted to get a gold coin, it's approximately $1,200, $1,300 more or less, right?
Yeah.
So if someone put $1,200 on the card, on the Glint card, and gold shot up to $50,000, are you saying they would now have $50,000
You
on
would
the
now have
card?
$50,000 worth on the card.
Do the math, family.
Exactly.
Okay,
the
now
math.
I seed a little bit of money each time into my Glint account, and that's what my wife and I use instead of messing with the account. I use my regular account at my bank as a means for seeding my capital, the way I do also with Novatech. Novatech,
Phil, did I get the
Oh,
spelling right?
put that up again. Because I saw Glenn on the card spelled GLINT. You spell it different?
no, GLINTPAY.
All right, let me get that right. Let me
Yeah,
get that.
because you didn't put that right.
GLINT. Because
P A.
Lloyd's like, don't play with my money.
No, you have to put the whole thing
No, it's
in.
about numbers. About numbers. That's all it is.
Oh,
No,
hold
you have
on.
to
I got two T's. I got to take one off.
No, put this glintpay.com.
Got it.
GLINTPAY.com.
Yes,
All right, good.
Is it that? That's it right there?
I can't see it.
It's on the screen.
Hang on a minute. You know what I'm going to do? Pardon me a minute. I'll make sure I got it.
GLINTPAY.com.
Yes. Okay. Is there a way for me to come on and you let me on?
Let you on where?
What screen sharing you saying?
Screen share. How do I?
Yeah, share the screen.
Yeah,
So
I can do
show
that.
something.
Okay. Share my screen now.
I gotta wait till you bring it up.
It's up.
It's up. Let me
Yeah.
see.
But I can't. I don't know how to do it where I'm at, where you are in SteamYard. Is
You use. Oh yeah, I see what you mean. You know who I gotta get back with? I gotta get back with Joel Benjamin because he know how to do all that stuff.
Oh, Okay. I wish I could actually show you it, but just if you can, if you are you on your computer now, Hank?
Yeah.
Just go to glintpay.com and it should
Okay.
come up on your screen.
All right. So let me add a screen. Hold on a
Uh-huh.
second. You know what? I'm actually working on a computer. Let me I'm gonna bring on another computer and then I'll pull it up and then show it. Okay, so we go to, let me just start up Firefox, GlintPay, GlintPay.com. Going to that, and then I'm going to, oh yeah, I see it. Okay.
Got
And
it?
then what I'm gonna do is add um this link onto the show.
Good.
I'll be okay, allow mic access, allow. Eminem Magnet Man. Enter studio. Okay. Now I'll bring up. Oops.
To echo.
Got a great picture of you.
You just made a double of you. You got a twin. You got a twin on there.
Okay.
You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. I was going to do Twilight Zone with that sound. Is there a way to give me access? Oh, here's my share screen. Okay.
Okay. I think you could do it from your side.
I'm looking
Hey,
for
bear with us, family, because all of you young whippersnappers that know how to work that technology.
Yep.
And
Can
while
you-
we're waiting for Phil to pop that up, why don't y'all type in the chat? We got over 300 people listening. Type in where you're listening from in the world, because that we love that. Type where you're listening from, family, while we're working out this minor technology. Let me see if I can do this here.
Phoenix, Fort Myers, Jersey, South Carolina, New York, Columbus, Missouri, Detroit.
Yeah, I always love seeing.
They're coming from a little bit everywhere. Barbados, Houston, Baltimore,
Wow.
Wisconsin,
Okay, let me see if
Houston,
I can. New tab.
Virginia, Bronx.
Okay, I see a glint pay. Now let me see if I can cinema layout press. Let me see. And for me, edit name or let me see if I'm gonna make a phone call. So I'm gonna mute. I'm gonna call up Joel Benjamin. because he's a genius. Hold
Well,
on.
you don't need to actually do that. Have the people go up there by themselves. They'll see.
Yeah, go to glintpay.com, y'all.
Yeah. Pay.com and open up an account. And like I said, once you get that going, they'll send you a debit card, and the debit card is a MasterCard that looks like this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this debit card essentially, what they'll give you, you have the ability to use or to change your access, your four-digit PIN number. I don't. I use the one they give me because it's so completely out to lunch that all of my, they can't actually
They'll never think of it, right?
even know what to do. So, I suggest that you kind of shift as much as you can into also Novatech. Check out Novatech.com. Let me bring it up so that you can get the proper name for that.
And what does Novatech do?
Now, Novatech is run by a black woman,
Uh-huh.
and she deals with the Forex, which is foreign exchange, and with cryptocurrency. Now, the beauty of it, it's Novatech, NovatechFX.com.
Mm-hmm.
NovatechFX.com. Now, the fun part about it is what you do is she trades every week. And whatever you put into the Novatech account is what she trades on your behalf. And you get a dividend at the end of the week that you can fold into your principal and have them grow the principal so that you're making more money as you're actually dealing with the trades. Now, a lot of people have put out some bad press on her. It's all lies. They wanted her. They tried to buy her out for I think $500 million, and she didn't, because her platform was so on point that they wanted to buy her out. She's not in this country, thank goodness, but she's dealing with one of the places outside the borders. We were going to be dealing with FTX until that collapsed.
Yeah.
And so that thank goodness she was not connected to that at all. But what I would like to tell you definitely is to deal with that, because that's residual capital money. That's money I don't even have to think about. I started with a certain amount, and now I have at least 5 to 10 times that amount in just the 4 to 5 months that I have been on there. Every week you make a little bit of change depending on how much you put in. So
And this is Novatech.
Novatech FX.
FX. Right.
Okay, so with Novatech, it reminds me of a dividend stock, where I just want to make sure, because with dividend stocks, when they pay you, you can roll it right back into the stock, or you can take it out and start living with it and spending with it. So is Novatech the same, or do you have to continuously roll it and you don't have the
No,
option?
you don't have to. You can automatically roll it because they have an automatic rolling link.
Mm-hmm.
Me, I don't. I wish I could show you my screen, because what I would do is I would pull up, because I've been itemizing all of my gains so that when I do my next podcast, I'm going to show what it is I earned each week. And there's not only that, not only on Friday can you earn, if you bring people in, because she set this structure up sweetly. If you can bring people in to do the same thing that you're doing, because they're independent from you, you definitely get a bonus from what they essentially are creating in their own cycle, in their own wealth. And so you get paid not only on Friday, but on Saturday as well. So you would want to think about that. And I say do your due diligence as I have. I'm satisfied. I don't say anybody to follow me. All I'm doing is telling you, here's what it is. Look at it. Check it out. And if you wish more information, you can call my liaison. His name is Reggie Juzang. And his number is, let me see, what is his number? I have his number here.
And while you're looking for that, Hank, somebody asked, could you put the links to Novatech and GlintPay in the chat?
Oh, it's right on the screen.
Where?
Primo.
Oh,
GlintPay,
yeah, but then put NovatechFX.com too.
Oh, okay. How you spell Novatech?
NovatechFX. TECHFX.com.
Nova, Nova TECH FX.
TECHFX.com.
FX remind me of that. Okay.
The movie.
Yeah.
There it is. Yep. That's it. Those are it. Those are the sites.
Now, why don't we just buy gold and some small silver coins and small silver gold? Because I went to the corner and I got sometimes I have me a little comfort food, like after I eat, like I've been juicing and then I'll get my Caribbean veggie plate. Then I went over there and got me one of those little cream puffs and a Starbucks. And it
Yeah.
cost me $10. And I just made a little rhyme, said, money no good no more. And everybody in the store started singing, no money no good no more. Money no good no more. Because it was just like 3 items.
It just takes one to get the party started.
Money no good no more.
Inflation. So we're coming to a time when people are going to have to find other ways to make money. And I mean, working 2 jobs is not going to be enough. You're going to have to invest in this. That's going to pay you. Invest in this, and so you're not going to want to do all that physical work, all that stress. So you're going to need things that's going to automatically reset, and continue to pay for you. And who knows what the job market is going to be over the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Oh, it's going to be rough.
And
Yeah, I was going to say the dog and the cat are going to start having to look for work too.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The number
inflation's going down, so you don't see it getting any better.
No.
Well, here in New York, here in Manhattan, they want to charge $4,000 a month for rent. So tell me, everybody ain't got to get up out of here and go to work.
That's for like a 5-bedroom suite, right?
No, it's a 1 bedroom.
1 bedroom.
Oh, they got closets for $600.
Yeah,
they got little closets. It's all over.
And they got a little studio for $1,200.
Yeah. That's why I left and came to Florida 16 years ago.
It's been 16 years?
16 years.
You're 7. You're 7.
7. And the funny thing about it, and here's where we are. Oh, by the way, here's Reggie Juzang's number. If you want to deal with Novatech, call Reggie, Reggie. Name is Juzang, Juzang, and his number is 415.
All right, hold on. Let me punch that in.
Okay.
415.
756.
756.
56.
56.
76.
Now, what does he do, Phil? This Reggie.
He signs you up, depending on what you want to come in with. You can come in at anywhere 200, 300, all the way up to 10, 20, 30, 40,000. In fact, one of the what's his name? The comedian Mooney.
Yeah, Paul Mooney.
Paul Mooney's son, Dwayne, is in this, and he's the one who is in connection with the sister herself.
Okay.
And the funny part about it is, and the beauty about it is, I just transferred some money from my principal into my bank. Over there, I transferred it to the Gemini Trade first, and then from Gemini Trade, I go into purchasing Bitcoin, and then Bitcoin then becomes part of my my regular bank account. And now, you got to keep shuffling your money around.
Nowadays.
Yeah, nowadays, definitely, because you have to be very careful. What happened is Reggie will teach you what this whole thing is about. And it's all about her rolling monies. And the thing is, she does not actually deal with the coin itself when she deals on the blockchain. She deals with the buying and selling activity. So there's no dealing, and you can understand this. There's no actual sitting on one particular coin as your means to see whether it's going to appreciate or depreciate. She's dealing with just the activity of buying and selling. And that buying and selling now does not, everybody's buying and selling at some point. So she doesn't have to wait to see what happens with Bitcoin, with XRP, XLM, and then she's doing across the board. So you get a dividend based upon what you put into it and what Forex comes out with it. And the prices fluctuate. I get a lot of money and sometimes, and then I don't. It depends.
Mhm.
So but you keep that principle. My principle just keeps growing and growing and growing. So I could borrow against it.
Mm.
It takes a little time because there's so much. A lot of people for Christmas have been trying to borrow against their principal. So I had to wait for like maybe 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks before I got my money. So now it's sitting there in Gemini. I can now go ahead and transfer it. But I
Okay.
suggest very heavily that you take some of your money out of these banks because Canada seriously showed you that they can
Yeah,
show.
yeah, that was a tip off right there.
That was
Trust
it.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of economics,
Yeah.
numerologically speaking,
Now
um,
make sure that they understand that the Glint Pay and the Novatex are not the same. Because I see it online here. I see the Glint Pay, then I see the dot dot dot, then I see the Novatech dot dot dot, and then the number.
now
So
the numbers for who?
the number is for Reggie.
Oh,
Novatech is for Reggie Juzang.
And somebody said on Novatech, there's no option to choose the United States to sign up.
That's all right. You can sign up in the United States. That's why you need to talk to Reggie.
Got you.
now
Got you.
Reggie is with Novatech.
Novatech.
No,
Novatech
Yes.
FX.
All right,
that's right.
while we typing in Reggie's name for Novatech, I want to touch on the economic forecast numerologically for this year.
Ah,
Lloyd, what does it
Okay,
look like?
repeat that one more time again.
What does the money look like for this year, 2023?
Well, see, 7 isn't about money.
no, it isn't.
It's
Oh
about
no.
things of a spiritual, internal nature. That's why a lot of people have a challenge going through this 7 personal year because we're in a culture that's about monies and relationships, a job, career, raises, promotion, bonuses, you call it what you will, relationships, love, boyfriend, girlfriend, mates, whatever the case is. So it's a very challenging time. That's why I was telling people that if you are accustomed to this world, this culture does, in order to get those things next year, you don't chase after them. You magnetize them to you. So it's like you're going into a movie, and on the mental screen of your mind, you create the movie that you want, a relationship movie, a financial movie, a health movie, wherever you feel those areas of your life needs to be improved on the material level in this culture, that's the way to get it. But chasing after it, no, you're just
So
not
that
going.
means this year is great for sexual cultivation of our energy to materialize whatever we are thriving to manifest.
You have to know that wealth is already there.
Yeah,
You're
and
not
it's in abundance too.
It's an abundance. The thing is that we're looking to see whether or not abundance will be accumulated. If you're biblically inclined, there's a part in the Bible that states that the wicked shall gather up the grain or the wealth and bring it into the into the storehouse for the righteous. So what the wickeds have been doing is setting up a precedent for how monies can be used, how we can actually fairly do it. But the wicked are trying to control that too, but they can't. The one thing
Boy,
good about Bitcoin was, before you understand that Bitcoin is not basically the best thing for the future. It's a good store of value, but it does not deal with the necessary store of not store of value. But the people who are listening to this would understand. Maybe they'll put it up on a ticker tape. But the main thing is that Bitcoin created something outside the financial system, which supposedly had circumvented the need for World War III. The whole setup of cryptocurrencies was to offset the hundreds of trillions of dollars in debt of the world. And if we're not dealing with that, we're dealing not only with the debt for the banks, but we're dealing with derivatives, which goes into the quadrillions with derivatives. Now, the one thing I want you all to think about, because it's going to happen, is the next thing for you to think about is to deal with XRP. XRP is Ripple. XRP is a technology that connects all the banking and everything, and this is Illuminati working. But the XRP, once you get into it, because it's cheaper right now to get it. What XRP is knitting together transactions, because there used to be this thing called the rostro, what is it, the rostro dostro? I forgot what it is, accounts. But if you wanted to transfer, say, dollars to Switzerland, Switzerland had to have a certain amount of dollars to guarantee that you would get your money at the other end. Now, what that did was to lock up hundreds of trillions of dollars into all the banks around the world. And the so-called people who were dealing with that particular system were getting rich off of it. That's why you had to wait 4 and 5 and 6 days before you got your money. It's because it was traveling to so many different banks before it came to you.
And everybody getting their little cut.
That's it. So now XRP eliminates that, because instead of waiting for a day, 3 hours, 2 hours, and all, you get it in seconds. And
How does people get a hold of XRP?
you can go up to Uphold, UPHOLD.com. That's the only, I think there's 1 or 2 other places that do it, but I go to Uphold, UPHOLD.com. Now, once you purchase it, you have the one thing about Uphold you got to deal with. They hold on to your crypto for at least 60 days. You can't actually trade out until after 60 days. Okay?
Well, I know this. Banks don't like crypto for whatever reason.
Well, you know what? Guess what? Guess what? They don't like crypto because crypto did not have a course of value.
Exactly.
Bank of America now. That's so most people don't know. Bank of America just signed a whole lot of deals with XRP. Bank of America, yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, check it out. That's why I went
What
ahead.
is it? What is the website for XRP?
Uphold,
I got
UPHOLD.com.
I got that right there.
Right.
All
Yeah.
right. Now, I want to come back to being that this is a 7, and that was excellent that you presented with us, Dr. Phil. That was excellent. Phil Valentine, Dr. Valentine with Baba Phil Valentine. Yeah, that was an excellent presentation. How in this year coming, Lloyd, 2023, how important, as Phil was just saying, is meditation in 2023?
Meditation will be an essential element, I would think, for people's success. Especially, first of all, it will begin to calm your nerves. It will begin to get you centered. You can actually begin to focus and concentrate. Right now, we're so bombarded with TVs, computers, tablets, cell phone. Some people go crazy if they go out the house without their cell phone. I mean, I've known some people that go almost to their destination, turn around, and come back to get their phone. That's how accustomed they are to having it. And so I'm saying that in this case, with 7 being very spiritual, that would be the better way to go. Now, the following year, 2024, is the money year. That's the year that Ye is running for the presidency. Okay. But Ye happens to be born on the 8th, and 2024 happens to be 8. And numerically, 8 represents money and power and authority and achievement and recognition and all these other goodies. Now we're back into the world that we're accustomed to, which is relationships and monies.
So this year would be excellent for practicing trance
Meditation, quietness, stilling the mind, going somewhere to avoid the noise, the confusion, the drama. Go somewhere where there's the sand, the sea, and the sun. I'm already got plans to go to the Bahamas. I'm going to Trinidad. You know what I'm saying? I'm out of here.
To be here. You're not trying to be here in New York.
No. And I don't like
that
cold.
being said, this is a trans year, a year for trans. This is also going to be a year of psychedelics, because now psychedelics has become an official form of therapy with the powers, or they're going to have a mutated form of certain psychedelics. But we're talking about this year being a trans.
Well, a lot of people seem to be more open to shrooms and other things. I mean, within the last at least 2 or 3 years, I've been hearing more of those kind of conversations on a regular basis. Maybe that is where people are going. That's interesting. The silver mine method you talking about, Jose
I
Silva?
took that back in 1980, and I still use it to this day. And just like it shows you how to go into, I think Phil, you was talking about alpha and theta states.
Yeah. Those waves, yeah.
And you could
His
find
name
it.
is
Wow,
It was Jose Silva.
Jose Silva. He was born on August the 11th,
Yeah.
Wow. So
and he had 10 children.
Yeah.
wow, that's a lot of trans work. And listen, the word trans has been hijacked.
Yes,
Trans
it has. Yes, it has.
touch on
Just
that.
like the word
Phil,
woke. Just
Lloyd,
like the word woke was hijacked.
it's been hijacked.
Yeah.
A
Trans
whole lot of
statement.
things have been hijacked, especially from the culture of people of African American descent.
Yeah.
Our culture's been hijacked from high fives to you name it.
Come on
The
now.
music. I'll go into a department store or a supermarket. You know the music I hear in the background?
Yeah.
Motown,
Motown.
Philadelphia. Primarily music of color.
Yeah,
Okay,
it is.
that's it. That's it.
Listen to all the commercials. All the commercials have black music.
I hear James Brown, Michael
All over.
Jackson. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
When
Now-
I was studying sociology in school, they says the so-called dominant culture that follows the so-called minor culture, which is us,
Yeah.
we are actually the dominant culture.
Yes, we are. And the thing is that we have set the stage for what now the young children are doing. You see a lot of these white kids got the same kind of groove because they've learned. Now you go all the way to the east. I was looking at something that one of the students sent me. They had these Asian girls dancing the way black girls
James
dance.
Brown. They was dancing to James Brown. Okay?
They got funky good time.
Yep. Gonna have a funky good time with James Brown.
They were definitely that. They study us. And that's what it is that was missing from the world. That joy, that peace that melanin gives. And remember, I think it was Dr. Carol Barnes. He said very interestingly that melanin was the mellow molecule.
Wow.
That melanin essentially made people mellow.
So you know what's real deep? Okay, let's build on it now. 2023, year of meditation, year of psychedelics, and in meditation with our community that I say is like a dysfunctional junkyard of heartbroken, wounded souls. How important is forgiving in relation to reducing chances of heart attack and stroke?
Well, that's the part where we definitely do the examination of judgment, because the heart is not a pump. The heart is a regulator. The lungs are the pump. Okay, the heart regulates good, evil, this, that, male, female, me, you. That's why you have those two sections, those two valves, those two areas. The heart is where the soul actually sits as a light entity. It sits at a place, a chamber called the, it'll come to me, but it's the place where you go clear, and you try to get the person back.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
you're
Yeah.
talking about atrial, ventricle,
Yeah, the atrial.
chambers, and then you have the
Yeah,
AV node,
yeah.
electrical
That node
pulse.
is called the node that's called the I used to know it. Jesus,
I
I
think it's
have
called AV node.
yes, the
Look at
AV.
his retrograde, Phil. Don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
I
Just
know that.
started
Wow,
today. Don't
it's
worry about
really,
it.
really affecting me.
Now, on the 18th, when it goes direct next month,
Yeah,
all our memories will come right
all
back.
come back,
Just
right. Well,
don't worry about it, Phil.
well, that node.
Yes, AV node.
Yeah, that's where the soul sits.
Wow.
It's not up here. The soul sits in the heart. That's
Hold
why
on, let me show you because we got too many folks thinking about the third eye, the soul seating. Say that again, Phil. Where does the soul sit?
the soul sits in wow, it just came and went. And inside of the
Arterial
soul,
ventricle node.
yeah,
Aorta.
the A node is the it'll come back to me probably
Yeah.
somewhere. But it sits in that particular node there. That's why they can actually jumpstart you at that
Yeah.
point and bring you back in. Now, here's the thing. That part of your heart, that's the reason why if you go up and you look at the Kemetic judgment scene, they're not weighing your brain. They're weighing your heart.
Yes.
The heart is weighed against the feather because the heart is where the judgment takes place.
Yes.
That's why they have to find out whether or not you have so much judgment in you, so much pain, so much either hate or anger or whatever, so much lust for the physical that your heart is heavier than the feather. And because his heart is heavier than the feather, then you become a candidate for reincarnation. And that's when the baboon consumes your heart.
Hmm.
That
When you're dealing with the elevating beyond that, that's why a lot of people who go off and become monks, they're now deleting from their heart and from their bloodstream judgment.
mm,
And they're becoming more and more isolated like an elemental. The elemental does not have any emotional connection to anything going on in the physical realm. So once you remove yourself from the emotional attachment, that's when the heart becomes lighter than the feather. And as the heart ascends and the feather becomes heavy, that's when they show you, that's when you become now a candidate for ascending into the next plane. Yeah, the atrioventricular node,
atrioventricular
right?
node.
The atrioventricular node. That's where the soul sits. Thank you.
Yeah. And I was also told too by somebody that works for New York One here in New York that the heart has a memory just like the brain does. And there was a case
Yes.
where a person had got a heart from a person that was killed, and the person that received the heart could actually tell who killed
Who
the
killed?
person.
Yes, and that was the dreams that they had belonged
Yes,
to other people.
yes.
Yes, I
Yeah, I
remember.
mean, this earth is fantastic. The body is fantastic if just left alone. So
Yes,
you got to do leave it
it's like
alone.
the kidneys as well. Most people don't know that the kidneys is also a digestive organ. And people,
Interesting.
yeah, the kidneys are the final digestion before the elimination. It actually has a digestive property. And the reason why it goes down is because it does not have enough of the oh, there's Mercury's working me again. You could take the baking soda that you need to actually get the nitrous oxide. You need the nitrous oxide for the kidneys to work properly. Like I can't mention his name, but we know him very well. He's a very, very, very well known activist, and I'm his doctor, so to speak.
Hmm.
He went in for a stone about the size of a he said it was a golf ball, but a little bit smaller than a golf ball. And the doctor showed him on the sign, yeah, we got to go in, we got to cut it out, we got to get you ready. He says, hold off. I'm going to go ahead and take a second opinion. He called me up. I put him on the baking soda regimen. 3 weeks later, it was gone. He went back and took another MRI of it, and it was gone. And the doctor said, wait a minute, where is it? He says, well, I took it from my doctor. He says, well, who is this guy? He could be a millionaire.
Mm.
Oh, he says,
Not if the medical profession has anything to do with it.
I told him, don't ever
It's
tell
about
me.
money. It
Mhm.
ain't about taking homeopathic or natural healing things. It's about money.
That's why I tell
Diabetes could
people,
be cured already. They already got the cure for diabetes.
yeah, but that's what I'm telling you. I told people, if if you do have success, don't tell anybody why the success is.
Stay
Why
under the radar.
under the radar? Because you don't want this beast to know where you are.
You
That's
got
why
that
I'm
right.
under the radar.
I've
So
been wondering sometimes how come those inventors, they're so brilliant, but they're so dumb to think that they can get on the media and talk about, I found something better than oil to run the car. Are you
Mhm.
water, I use water.
yeah, are
I
you
have water to run it.
stupid? Are you stupid? As Joel Benjamin says. If you gotta have an underground market the same way they move cocaine through here.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of the biggest markets out there. But like I said, that once you understand the process of healing and what to do with healing, and understand that even for you as a man to get an erection, you need that nitrous oxide. That's what keeps
Yep.
you
The erection.
going. The
Yep.
erection is nitrous oxide. And if you're dealing with arugula, yes, but the baking soda goes right to it, kicks it into start immediately. That's why I
Wow.
take the baking soda every day. every
Wow.
day.
What you
And
do? Half a glass of water, or a full glass of water, or what? Just
yeah, I take a full glass of water, and I tell people if you want to start, make sure you can start with a level teaspoon first, so you
a
can get
level teaspoon of baking soda.
baking soda. And you can go to Whole Foods and get the 360, which is the non-toxic. But I even dealing with the non-toxic, the Arm and Hammer. You could even deal with that if you can't get to them. You start first with the level. It also helps to change a very acidic environment in your stomach, and helps very well also with what do you call it, reflux, acid reflux,
Mm.
Uh-huh.
as well as with people who are suffering from minor to mid-level ulcerations.
I know people who brush their teeth with it. So
Yeah,
I do too.
does that make a difference also?
that's good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, baking soda is definitely something that's missing from us, and I incorporate it and tell people, especially when it's simple like that. I don't want anybody paying any money, so I just tell them do this for a while. And so when he went back, it was like, oh my God, this guy can be a millionaire. Do you have his number, his name? No, you don't want his number, his name given. So I would suggest to your family, if you do have stomach issues, you start very small first because your body has to get used to it. Take a level teaspoon and take a little bit of that at night before you go to bed, or in the morning when you first wake up. It changes your acidic into an alkaline medium.
Mm.
And then after
Mm.
that, when you have colds, fevers, and so forth, to help to enhance the healing process, by enhancing the nitrous oxide in your body kicks in. It's like adding that. You ever seen Fast and Furious when they add the nitrous oxide to that?
Oh yeah.
Same thing.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
your body is an engine. It runs like an engine. But when I tell people that the heart is actually a regulator, and that the lungs are the pump, that's the area where we breathe in. This thing that we call air is not just air. It is suffused with solaric force that the sun gives us. This is all water. The air you see here, family, it's not just air. It's actually a qualified form of water.
Facts.
And in
Mm.
that water, when you breathe that in, just like a fish does, when you breathe it in, your processing mechanism, it's baking soda and a half. Yeah, there you go.
But you know what? There was a person recently, I forgot what part of the United States he was on. He
Yeah.
had developed this truck, and when people walked in, they turned it, and it would create water
Oh
out of
yeah.
air.
Yeah, out of the air.
Texas.
Out of
There you
air.
go.
And what I'm saying is, it proves your point of what you're saying, that all this that we're thinking has water content. That's why it's called H2O.
Oh, yeah, but it's
Mhm.
not just as water, it is water. That's
Yeah,
the We differentiate it by thinking that because we can move so easily through it, the way a fish moves so easily in water, that we think that it is something distinct, but it's just another, just like the gash or what you call the clouds. That's a form of water.
Mm.
yeah, yeah.
So everything is water. That's why they talk about the waters above and the waters below.
And that's
It's
why
all
perhaps the majority of this earth is covered by water,
It's all water. In fact, the dome that we're under, the dome that separates the waters from the water, is made of hydrogen.
which
It's
is
a
water.
hydrogen dome, which is there. There you go. And that's the moot mother. That's the distinction. When they show you the moot mother,
Yeah,
that's the dome.
yeah,
People
yeah.
don't see it. But anyway, the main thing is that the fact that we breathe this in the Bible, they speak about it as the marriage at Cana. Remember when Jesus went to the marriage? He was at a wedding, and he turned the waters into wine. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, all they're talking about is when you breathe in the Christ energy, Jesus, Jesus, Heru, the sun. When you breathe in the solaric force, it goes down into the tree of life. Because if you were to turn the lungs upside down, you will see it branches off like a tree. And as it goes down, as the air goes down into the alveoli, down into the fabric of your lungs, and into these little balls at the end called alveoli, that's where it processes the materials of the air, cranks it out, and makes it into your blood. And that's where they get to deal with turning the water into wine, your blood. It's all about the mystery of you. You study you, and you'll see that the Bible ain't nothing but a hodgepodge of scientific material masked by myth. Period.
And parables.
And parables.
Asking parables, brother. That's all it is. You know.
Yes. Anyway, family, my bedtime's coming up.
Yep, and I'm saying too, I didn't know I've been on almost 3 hours. It's nice.
Yeah, y'all did excellent tonight. I want to thank you, Dr. Phil Valentine. I want to thank you, Lloyd Strayhorn. I want to thank the listening audience.
Thank you,
and I welcome you to join. This is the Q. What's this called, Bliss? A Q code?
Yeah, it's like a Q code. Yes.
Yeah, this is the Q code, family. So you can join the WhatsApp chat so that you can continue to get the innovation. Sometimes, you know, during the holidays, we might have some colorful videos. We got colorful folks from all forms of life. It's specialized in health, entheogens, tantra,
everything. News. News and blues.
But if you're a zombie, don't bother. You know, I find it in chat.
We ain't looking for no zombies.
We ain't looking for those zombies in the chat. Just want to thank you again, Phil.
And before I go, can I let people know that if they want to, they can go to my website, which is Lloyd-Strayhorn.com. In fact, my online courses, I have 3 of them: the Learn from Lloyd series, How to Read a Person Like a Book, the Next Step in Numerology, and the Do's and Don'ts. All 3 of those courses are now on sale for less than $35, but you must go to my website to get the discount.
Did I spell it right?
Lloyd dash. Put a dash in between Lloyd and Strayhorn.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna put
For how much? $34?
Yes, less than $35. You can get all 3 of my courses. Unless you wait till next week, you can spend $300.
Is that it? Is that correct?
Yes,
Lloyd?
that's perfect. That's perfect.
Okay, so
and sign up for the 3 monthly newsletter too. The January issue, the newsletter will be out soon.
Now, how do they tap into that?
They go right there to my website. They sign up right there. Then they also go to sign up for the classes right there on Lloyd-Strayhorn.com to get the discount.
Okay, is there a phone number?
Yes, it's 1-800.
Okay, hold on. Let me put that in because I'm like a little bit of a duh.
That's all right. We all are, brother. Don't worry.
Now,
when you start walking on water, Hank, okay, then I'll see. 1-800-581 4401. 1-800-581-4401. And they can also go to my website, Lloyd-Strayhorn to schedule consultations too.
Okay. And Phil, do I have all the information correct?
Looking through it, yes, with the classes. Make sure you have brother Reggie.
Got his number. Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure you have Reggie Juzang's number if they look for Novatech.
Oh, here it is.
Okay. Yeah. Novatech is Reggie. That's his number. Uphold.com is for cryptocurrency, the XRP. Make sure they know that XRP is what they're looking for. Also, XLM. These are the ones that I have: XRP, XLM. Lord of mercy. Who else?
And y'all gonna have to listen to this show more than once.
Yeah,
because there's so much information here. I mean, you're getting it for free. Do you have any donation sites? Because you gave both of you gave a class tonight, and those who are feeling the holiday generosity, Lloyd, Phil, how can you receive tithes for all the information that you shared today?
Well, my PayPal is Kemet, Kemet.
Okay, hold on. Let me put that in there. PayPal
is Kemet, Kemet. The next word, Earth.
Kemet, Earth.
EARTH. At gmail.com.
And Lloyd?
My Cash App is right here. This is the name of it. $ Numbers in You.
$
Numbers in You. Named after my book on Cash App.
$ numbers.
A classic.
And
yep.
Okay, I'm gonna put that up now.
This book is 40 years old.
Yep.
Man, time flies. That
goes the first thing I was reading.
It's going through revisions, but in origin, I told them when the book was out, I said this book is going to sell forever. As long as there are human beings walking the earth under a certain sign and a certain birthday, I got them.
Yep.
I put this out before Bliss was born.
And I put up Wounded Womb before Bliss was born.
No, see, they don't know we've been around, Phil.
Yeah.
Did I have all the information here?
Yeah.
All right, so y'all give King Simon. Want to thank you, King Simon, for being in the
King
chat.
Simon.
That's my brother. That's my brother right there, King Simon.
Brother, mother.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he has done a lot for me. God bless him
Done a
too.
lot for a lot of people around.
Yeah,
the world.
I'll stand by him any day, through thick and thin.
That's right. That's
Any
right.
day.
Again, the QR code, just so that y'all can see, that's the QR code. And we got PayPal. We got Lloyd Strayhorn, 1-800-581-4401. Listen, 7-year, get into the silver mine method so that you can know before you know. And that's all I could think of. I think we covered all the bases.
I think we have. Family, it's been a gas. Let's do this again sometime.
Yep.
And
Phil, I'm gonna have you back on later in the year with your queen.
by all means.
You know what I'm saying? And they'll be on my show. And YouTube, Bliss and son, Hank Rise and Son, I'm gonna have you two back on too.
Yes.
Probably somewhere in March.
Okay. I want to thank again Baraka, because he's doing the daddy shuffle with teenage daughters. So he's out trying to make sure everything is safe. Copacetic. Yeah, I want to thank everybody in the chat. I want to thank all the Tantra Jedis. Coming up this Monday, we have Miss Bliss make the announcement about what's happening January 1st.
January 1st, which is Sunday, New Year's Day, we're going to have a launch of a school, which is a Tantra Orgasmic Sexual Energy School. My girl, Adara. Yes, y'all.
Yeah, listen, I had to put some South African topless sisters in their beautiful attire to get rid of the pilgrim mindset of a lot of the people in the chat. Because, I think nipples have chakras, according to Master Yao Morris.
Yes, they do.
Oh, when is all this supposed to be, folks? Oh, January 1st.
Yes, it's going to be January 1st. That's the day that she chose. She figured, why not start off the year right?
All right.
And yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
Do they have a contact number?
You will get all of that for the school this Sunday when you watch.
Ooh.
You gotta have your eyes ready.
Lloyd, you are such a young blood, my brother.
Her lingerie on.
I'm just research, brother.
That's all I do. I stay in the lab of research. I want to thank you again, Phil. Phil, it's been like 40 years.
Thank you. And Happy New Year to all of you. Happy New Year.
Happy
We're
New
going to
Year
have a great year.
throughout the world who are listening. You got about 450 folks that came through here tonight.
Yay.
We got somebody listening from South Africa. I mean, it's global. Think global, family. Think global.
Okay,
Yep. Here's the music for the closeout. Love you all. Thrive in 2023. Ashe, aho, and remember to do wachuma.
Ashe.
Say often, yes, I am. Supreme shield of protection surrounding me. Yes, I am. Yes, I am remembering all I was born to do. Yes, I am. Take hold of your crystal, which will magnify your I am affirmations at least 600%.